What's up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here.
What's up, guys? Bringing you guys another update, mainly today on the Zeke situation, since there was no other news out of Cowboys camp other than that today. So, I mean, I'm sure as everybody has heard, Zeke was suspended for 6 games due to violating the personal conduct or something like that policy of the NFL. So he is appealing that decision. And we are here to discuss all the details surrounding that and why we think it's crap.
Yeah.
So, there you go, guys. What's up, Patrick? Hi,
Wolf
Ryder. How are you?
Up? Late for you.
Give us just a second as we
What's up? What's up, Never See Me? As you guys heard earlier, my rant, kind of rant about the Cowboys. Thank you, Cowboys News. Appreciate that. Patrick, he likes to talk a lot of trash, though. He's going to do that all stream here. But, okay, no, I just, you guys heard my rant earlier, and when it kind of, about a half hour after it broke, you guys kind of heard what I had to say about it. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff that kind of came out in between then and now that's been more solidified and more like, concrete from the NFL, what their viewpoint is on this.
So I think one of the more interesting aspects of it is the fact that there are two deciding factors were the domestic violence incident from July 2016 last year, which, as we all know, has been proven false because she lied.
It's never been proven false or true, I guess you can say, because it never went to the courts because the police didn't have enough information. The prosecution didn't have enough evidence, whatever you want to call it, to back any of her claims up. And again, it was proven that she lied. Now, whether or not things really did happen, I mean, I guess we'll really never know. But to suspend him based on, well, we don't know where the bruises came from, so we're going to assume it was Zeke. To convict him in the NFL for that is insane. And I'm going to just leave it at that. He will appeal this. He has technically 3 days. I think he's pretty much... it's pretty much a done deal. He's going to definitely appeal it. And the only other thing is he's thinking about taking it to the courts, which if that occurs, and I think even if the appeal goes into the season, which I heard it was supposed to be after 3 days, that he has 10 days, the appeal board has 10 days to review it.
Yeah.
And then after that, they have to give a response another couple days after that. So it comes up to like the end of August. They have to, if he appeals it the next couple of days, officially, then it's going to be then when it kind of, we'll have to have an answer either way. And, of course, part of that review board is going to be Goodell, our friend. And I think, I'm not sure, but maybe the lady who ran the investigation, and that would be the Giants fans, whatever, lady, you want to call her that. But, yeah, I mean, so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And, we'll see. On that side of things, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, Jerry Jones, very upset. Very.
And again, like we said, Zeke is obviously appealing the decision. I wouldn't expect the whole, Jerry Jones lawyer army to attack the NFL. And honestly, I have to say, I'm really upset with the way that the NFL has chosen to handle this. A lot of the way that they've chosen to handle this is why so many people are viewing this as such a negative thing. Because I'm sorry, but they did a horrible job. And as much as they say that they have valid reasons to suspend Zeke for 6 games, no one has yet to see any kind of evidence to back up any of those claims.
Not for 6 games.
Not for 6 games. And I can understand how the St. Patrick's Day incident could warrant a suspension. And I will agree with the NFL in the sense that he could have violated their personal conduct policy.
And that's 2 games, guys.
Yeah, but when they said specifically that they considered those 2 incidents and for them to get 6-game suspension, and because of the whole domestic violence aspect of it, I mean,
that's from Ray Rice.
I'm sorry, but that's just straight up crap. And I'm just going to call it what it is.
And I don't believe it's like, I believe it obviously domestic violence is a major issue and it occurs. And obviously it was a major cover up by who? Roger Goodell. What am I talking about? Roger Goodell covered this up. He saw the video of Ray Rice, suspended him 2 games. Then it was released and leaked. And then it was found out that he actually knew about the videotape beforehand. So he was, in trouble there with the public relations aspect of things. Same thing happened with Josh Brown, the kicker from the Giants. I think it was last season.
Yeah.
And he suspended for 1 game.
Yeah.
And he had a diary that had the explanation of what he did, where that he had ticked her, I think, or hit her 20 times. And this was all in the court system. And he got 1 game suspension. And then, of course, when that came out, then they suspended him for a lot longer, and the Giants cut him immediately. But why isn't Zeke getting that treatment? I mean, because of the. I mean, I'm just trying to think because Zeke didn't even get convicted. He never went to trial. The police dropped the charge. Everyone dropped the charges.
They didn't even have enough evidence to bring it to a trial. Like, they couldn't even decide a verdict of guilty or not guilty or whatever. They didn't have enough evidence to build a case. So, and again, with the little bit of evidence they did have, they did discover that she sent messages to her friend asking her friend to lie for her.
These are facts.
To lie and say that Zeke violently pulled her out of a car. And her friend was questioning, like, wait, what? What do I say to the police? They're calling me now. I'm sorry, right. But when you have undeniable proof of somebody lying about something that important, and then for them to turn around and say, oh, no, but this is what actually happened, and there's no corroborating evidence. And on top of that, she got into some kind of bar fight or something, within that same time frame. I mean, I'm sorry, but, for the NFL to suspend a guy for just being accused of doing something wrong, that's it. I mean, there's no actual evidence of him doing something wrong. For him to be suspended for just the accusation of it, I think it's a very dark path the NFL is trying to take. And I think they're going to get, they're going to really regret it because, again, the whole Jerry Jones lawyer army is going to come after them. Ezekiel Elliott is going to come after them. And I think this is possibly a big win for Ezekiel Elliott and players' rights when it comes to situations like this.
Now the NFLPA, agreed to this after the Ray Rice incident. So they agreed to have a very open language when it comes to these kinds of situations where even in the court of law, like Greg Hardy, he was proven guilty by his peers, a jury trial, and then he was found guilty of domestic violence. So for that, so he was ready to be suspended. But and over the summer in North Carolina, there's a law that you can actually take it to a jury. It's got one out of like 3 states. So he took it to a judge trial, and
the judge found him not guilty. Right?
Incorrect. No, she never showed up.
Oh,
because the word is that he paid her off and not show up. So then he challenged the NFL, saying, "No, that's not fair. Why should I get suspended? I was found not guilty in the end." But see, he was actually somebody who was guilty, and deserved his 10-game suspension, which I think they dropped it to 6. But either way, that's an example of the NFL kind of messing up in another way there. Slightly, they should have really suspended him, throw him the book, throw the book at him. But Zeke, to make him the example because he's a superstar entering the elite level. I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy thing. I hate that stuff.
So, and sorry, Hollyway. What's up? Thanks for watching. But I do have to disagree with that last comment. They have photo evidence of the incident from St. Patrick's Day. We all saw the video. We all saw the pictures. He pulled down that woman's top. And again, they're just saying that it looks. Yeah, they're saying that it looks bad on the league. Regardless of whether
that's
of
the
games. Fact that she did
2 games at most for that.
So regardless of the fact that she was okay with it, so they just don't like the way that looks.
Right.
But they're saying that the July 2016 domestic violence incident is a direct relation into their decision now. And I'm sorry, but that's completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and the pictures themselves, I mean...
she was in a bar fight that same week that she accused Zeke of doing the things that she said that he did.
Yeah, it was like 3 days. Over span of 3 days.
Even the evidence from those bruises came out that, it didn't match, those bruises didn't match the timeline of what she had told the police as well. So on top of on top of the fact that she sent the messages to her friend that she sent, asking her friend to lie. I'm sorry, but it's really hard to believe a liar when she's a proven liar.
There you go. Westbrook is telling you. I mean, just like my fiance just said, they have no physical evidence. And again, we're talking about the court of law. I know that NFL wants to go on their feelings on this. They feel like something happened.
I mean, and I believe it was 2 separate police investigations, that they carried out to try and find any kind of evidence or any kind of wrongdoing here. And both times they came up with nothing. I'm sorry, you're telling me the police didn't do their job 2 times over on something that she says happened over a span of 6 days?
And the prosecutor, even though they also felt like there was something going on, that maybe something went on, of course they're going to defend that person, the victim, the so-called victim. But at the same time, you just can't assume those things because, again, now he's going to be labeled this. He's going to be looked at as guilty, even though he was found, he was never even had to go to court for this. He didn't have to pay anybody off.
Exactly.
He didn't have to beg her friends to lie. No, this comes off of their cell phone text messages. It's proven. That's true evidence that the NFL decided to avoid. They cherry picked that entire
and again,
evidence.
I said it earlier.
In this case,
this is going to, excuse my language, bite them in the ass, because now Ezekiel Elliott has a reason to go after them, a valid reason to go after them, and if he is found, in the right here, the NFL stands a lot to lose. So. But at the end of the day, Ezekiel Elliott is in the right, and I wish him the best of luck, and I hope that, the evidence is on his side, and I hope that everyone in the thing can see that. Yeah, I mean, so whoever is in charge of these appeals and this process and the courts.
Let's see what happens.
So we just have to let it go out there.
If he also gets the injunction, that could go like Brady did, go a year later. Even with the appeal, could go for a while into the season. So he might not even be suspended right away. Now, they said that they will be suspending him right now. But if he appeals it, that can change
things. Again, they never see me, Hollywood 15. You guys are telling me that there's 100% evidence of Zeke supposedly doing these things that the 2 separate police investigations failed to find. You're telling me that where did this happen? When did this happen? I'm sorry, but, how is the NFL?
There's proof that she got into a fight.
Yes.
There's proof that, she was heard and wrote to him to help ruin Zeke's career in his life.
Yeah, and again, there's proof that she tried to get her friend to corroborate her lies
for the domestic violence. So again, you're comparing that. So think about where there's smoke, there's fire kind of thought process. Yeah. Somebody said that earlier in my earlier.
And again, this is with also admitting the fact that Zeke probably should still be suspended for 2 games. For the St. Patrick's Day incident, I understand 100% why the NFL feels that violated a personal conduct policy. As much as I hate it as a Cowboys fan, I agree with their decision in that regard. Outside of that, when it comes to domestic violence, I'm sorry, it's just straight up crap.
When it comes to this situation, yes, for sure. I mean, again, we're not saying like the Ray Rice thing and the Greg Hardy thing. Obviously, these guys should get the book thrown at them. The Adrian Peterson with the child abuse thing, I mean, still no excuse for that. And other people like Vic and stuff, they even though I don't like what they did, I hate what Vic did. I mean, and these other things are bad too.
It disgusts me to my core. I hate him.
But we hate all these things from all these situations, And the thing is that these people either were handed some kind of penalty, suspension, or crime, a sentence, a criminal sentence, and they serve prison time, like Vic. So they all paid their dues, and and if they're allowed back, they should be allowed back. But again, you have to be fair to the players as well. And I just don't think that this agreement that the NFLPA did is they were going to realize that this kind of stuff was going to happen with the commissioner and his investigators, that they were going to actually be non-biased and actually go where the evidence points, not go by what you want to feel.
And a fun point as well, I believe the lead investigator on this appeal or this investigation or whatever probe into Zeke's suspension decision is supposedly a Giants fan. And I know it sounds very petty at this point to point that out, but if that had any factoring at all in that decision, I mean. I
just want to say a couple of things. I see Eagle fans said about banishing him. That's true. The NFL actually sent another letter to him saying that if something like this happens again, this kind of violation, that's a very open and broad violation. Now, remember that. He could be banished from the league. 3 players in history have been banished in the NFL. Somebody in 1925 from the Chicago Cardinals, and 2 Giants players from 1940-something for setting up a game. The Cardinal guy, he actually paid off high school players to be on the other opposing team so they could get an easy win.
I'm sorry, with the statement,
that's what we're comparing
with the follow-up letter like that, you're really telling me the NFL doesn't have some type of agenda, some type of vendetta, either against the Cowboys or Ezekiel Elliott himself? I mean, I'm not one for conspiracy theories or crazy things like that, but it is really hard to feel like you don't have a target on your back when the NFL itself is going to this extreme.
I just don't like. I don't think it's a Cowboy target. I think it's a superstar target. And Goodell's trying to be getting good with the social justice situations and all that stuff kind of blend in with the times in a way. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's good to do that, but it's also a little overboard, I think. And I think people are realizing that, even if they're haters or if they're other fans from other teams. And I hear a lot of this from all over the NFL, and they're just like, they just love to call him a woman beater and these things that are absolutely not proven. This is a wide range of fans.
I agree.
So it's just, when you see that, it's disheartening. Because I know I wouldn't be that way with opposing teams, even my most hated enemies, even Odell or anyone that I really hated. I wouldn't, and I don't even hate him that much. I appreciate his gameplay. So I did want to address another question that someone said up there, and I couldn't remember who it was, but you know who you are. It was about why we're stressing about this. And honestly, We're just stressing because he is a superstar caliber, but that's about it. I understand what you're saying. It's definitely a four horsemen kind of deal now. When you think about it, I'm not too afraid. We have the offensive line. If we could just solidify that, like I said, the left guard, and then make sure Collins can play that right tackle. But I think McFadden, he was fourth best running back as far as yards, and rushing yards 2 years ago when he was the main guy in Dallas. If you guys remember, that's when Romo got injured in week 2 against the Eagles. And then he got injured. They beat the Dolphins later, way down the line, and then they got knocked out on Thanksgiving against Carolina. And so he only played like 3 games, basically, a total of 3 games. And he was 4th in the league rushing. So, we're better now. We have more weapons now, and we have Dak.
No, I agree. But to counter that statement, it is still, at least I said this before, I believe, in our previous live stream. If our offense isn't at 100%, if our offense isn't the best that it can be, that means that we are automatically putting more pressure on our defense to step up. And the way that we are going to win games is by having our offense control the ball. And so much of that relies on Zeke that as much as I know McFadden can do it, as much as I trust in Morris to be able to do it, and the rest of our offensive weapons between all of our great receivers and, Dak himself and our offensive line, it is just very concerning to know that one of our biggest playmakers, which is Ezekiel Elliott, especially with some of the great moves he's been making in training camp so far, playing in the backfield, a lot of the more receiver routes that he's been doing. I mean, it was really exciting to see that because, I think you mentioned it before that he looked like Le'Veon Bell. And
a bigger, stronger Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. So, again, that gets me excited to think about, holy crap, we have Zeke and something like that.
Well, here's the thing, guys. So, I know there's a lot of negatives, and I want to concentrate on the positives, actually, in the sense of we mentioned the running backs. These are the guys who are going to be playing, and I guarantee you now, I'm almost sure they're going to keep all the other 4 guys, which they're thinking they might actually cut 2 of them or cut 1 and trade Morris. So Ronnie Hillman, he's kind of like a scat back third down guy, like Lance Dunbar. I can see him making the team, and he has veteran experience. Rod Smith, number 45, who has been fantastic in training camp and in preseason. Let's see how he finishes up. But I think he's going to make the team. He's a good shot for it. And then you have, of course, Alfred Morris, who was like trade bait a little bit. And we kind of, we're actually saying that we thought he was going to be traded unless, and every time we said that, unless Zeke got suspended.
So now we are pretty confident in saying that we do think the Cowboys are going to hold on to him, especially with the way that he's been playing so far in training camp.
Yeah, and again, he's been doing much better. He's catching out the backfield better. So that's also McFadden's thing too. So they both are doing these things. McFadden's just a little bigger, and that's why he'll be our technical starter. But you're going to see Morris. You're going to see Rod Smith, changing it up. And you're going to see on third down and longs, you're probably going to see someone like Hillman back there. So, again, with that combination, I think that I understand the worry about Zeke not being there. I mean, how can you take away the best running back and not expect to go down some?
Exactly. The good thing is that we have the offense to compensate for the fact that Zeke won't be there.
And again, I think we have our best Dez season ahead. I think we have, T. Williams is going to be just, he's going to be solid, making 3 catches, probably important ones a game. Beasley, he's a beast. You're going to have Switzer in the slot as well. Yeah. And you're going to have Witten still doing his thing. He looks younger than ever, honestly, out there. I've seen him in years.
This is probably one of his best training camps to date. So.
And Rico Gathers next to him, possibly. I want to hold off on that, but possibly.
I know someone
don't forget Bryce Butler, too.
Oh, that's right.
Just throwing these guys out there. We can just keep switching them up.
Yep. And I believe one of you guys mentioned as far as how will this affect Ezekiel Elliott when it comes to fantasy football. Honestly, I think that he will be kind of a steal because of all these issues. He is going to drop down a little lower in the draft. I think if somebody takes a risk, picks him up a little bit early, and he does manage to lower that suspension.
Are you trying to fool the people in our league?
No, I'm giving you my honest opinion. I think that Zeke is going to hopefully win that appeal. I don't know how many. I do believe he's still going to face a little bit of a suspension. I can't tell you how many.
I believe it'll be like 3 or 4.
I want to say about 2 games. I'm being optimistic.
I say 3 or 4.
Either way, I think somebody can easily pick him up. And when he comes back, he's going to definitely have something to prove. So we're gonna.
And that's another thing too. I know he's not as mature or as a veteran or even playing the position like Tom Brady did. And Brady came back, he had a mission, and that was to get that trophy from Robert Goodell, and he did it. Yeah, and I don't think he can do it this year, but I think it's going to propel him. I think it's going to propel the team together with Dak leading them. And I think you're going to see Dak be a true leader this year, and I think he's going to take over the reins for the first quarter of the season. Let's say 4 games. And that's what I'm banking on with this whole, when it all is said and done. And, assuming it's the first 4. And it's gonna suck. But at the same time, I think that we have enough to hold it down for the running back position with our offensive line, as long as that continues.
Okay.
We have a lot of offensive power in general, and I think we can still control the clock. Maybe not as well. Maybe we won't have that dynamic back. We can do it all 3 downs.
I think this is where some of our veteran players do need to step up and take a little bit more control of some of our younger players or newer players, and just really, again, manage them and make sure things are running smooth, because at least while this time we don't have Zeke, we can't afford a single mistake. I mean, we have to be even more 110%.
And again, I see the comments here. I see Matthew about him being okay. Dak is okay. Well, we're going to see this year. He was okay last year when it came to fantasy, when it came to stats, because that wasn't really his thing. I mean, he was a game clock manager. He was very, especially in the beginning of the season, he was very, not sure about his pass. I mean, he was sure. He said, only if he's wide open, I'm going to throw this pass. And you can see that in the way he played. He had no interceptions till, almost halfway through the season. I mean, he was very careful about his passing. And then when he became a little more kind of out there, you can see, he made a couple mistakes, but also you can see the greatness where he just could just lay that ball in perfectly, or just shoot a quick pass, like a quick in route or a slant, or some kind of like flag or post. He can hit him all over. He reads the defense very well. Very smart quarterback.
So I just want to take a quick second to say hi to everybody who's joined us so far. Thank you guys for watching. If you don't already know, we do have a fantasy football league. Go ahead and check out the link in the description down below to go ahead and join. It is just for fun. Just to go ahead and have a good time. Make sure to join. And, we'll see you at draft day.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Patrick, I'm going to take your little comment there about the Cowboys be fine. They're freaking out. This guy, they can win without the thug, which he's implying it's Zeke, which he's not a thug. He's far from it. But I do think that
he might be a dumbass, and I'm sorry for
saying that. He's an immature idiot right now. And I said that last year about the way he was in the locker room with you can see the difference. You got Dak and you got Zeke. Yeah. And Dak is like mature, talking to the press, whatever. And you got Zeke, blowing the little straw things at him and stuff.
Messing with Dak.
Yeah, just doing it. I mean, it's funny to an extent. It's kind of silly. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of immature. And at the end, it shows in the way that they both handle their off season. They handle their lives.
So honestly, I think that Dak's kind of confidence and the fact that he stepped up so willingly and so easily into leadership. I mean, he definitely had some struggles, but he seems to naturally, take on the leadership role. And it seems like the team is really responding to that as well. Like, they're actually listening, and he's looking better than ever in training camp. I mean, he's making some great passes, great moves, and I think that is going to be a kind of a make or break difference. I think that if Dak wasn't there yet, we would definitely struggle a lot more. I think the fact that Dak is there yet.
And that's the thing. That's in our opinion now. Whoever has their opinions. And I've seen a lot of Dak in training camp. I've seen the way we'll see him on this game tomorrow against the Rams. And again, we hope you guys tune in tomorrow. We're going to do a live stream of the game. That's always fun, because I'm going to be concentrating on that game and not even look at you guys' comments till later. Actually, you'll be handling the comments and things, but I'll be just making comments about the game. So you want to tune the game on, and then you want to put us on your computer, go for it. Yep. Should be entertaining.
Mr. Wright, as far as our last stream, again, because it was such breaking news, we just wanted to get the news out to you as fast as possible. So sorry about any technical issues. Like we said, we're still kind of working on a few things where we do have less time to set things up, but we do appreciate your feedback so that next time we can try to get it right.
Actually, I listened to it back on the YouTube afterwards, and actually, I think you told me she had kind of checked into it while she was in between stuff. So it all sounded good to everybody else. So I'm sorry about that, but maybe Mr. Wright, it was your side, maybe the volume was your side. I don't know. Something simple like that. Sometimes. But
definitely let us know, guys, if you do have any kind of audio, visual issues. We definitely want to know so we can try to fix it right
Cowboys
away.
Abroad.
So, and hi to anybody else who's joined us since we started.
Yes.
Let me see here. So again, when it comes to the whole Zeke situation, I mean, look, we all know that the Cowboys offense can definitely pull this off. We can do it. It just means that some of our guys do have to step up a little more. I will say I'm a little bit excited to see, like you mentioned earlier, some more Dez action. Honestly, this is Dez's time to shine. In a way, the fact that we do have to rely a little bit more on our passing game, that means that we should be seeing a lot more from some of our receivers.
But I disagree there. So I disagree.
I know we have McFadden. I know we have Morris. But it is different.
It's not just that, though. It is different. And I agree. We will have to lean on them just a little more. But it's not going to change our game plan. The Cowboys' game plan, guys, I'm telling you this, They're going to stick with the run. The run is the primary thing there with the offensive line. I'm telling you, we're going to stay with the run. We have 3 and 4 able running backs that can pound that ball back there and get 4 or 5 yards, 3, 4 yards, and then play action. It actually helps us in a way because the Giants would key on Zeke. Now the Giants, if the game won, if Zeke's not there, then guess what? They might not be so putting 8 guys in the box anymore. They might put 7. They might put 6. With our offensive line and with Rico, if he can block, and if we have that kind of threat, but they have to play kind of watching our passing game, that's when you attack the run. And I don't care how good your defense is. We have offensive line can definitely 9 out of 10 times will overtake a good defense. With that kind of mismatch, we have less guys in the box, or maybe more cornerbacks, or maybe smaller linebackers. So I think we will still take advantage. I think we're going to be a run-first team. Nothing's changing. But our pass, I think that, now is the time for him to shine in the sense that when that pass comes to his hands, push that guy away, get that ball.
Yeah, definitely expect a lot more play-action plays.
I see a lot of aggressive play by Dez this year. I do see him, not necessarily pushing off. I'm talking about when he goes to that ball like he did in practice. I see him doing a lot of that this year.
Yeah, one of the things I will say that I'm most happy about Dez in this training camp is as much as he's making what seems like okay, easy, even amazing catches, his hands look very steady.
Yeah,
which is something that we haven't.
Again.
Yeah, something that we haven't seen so much from Dez up until more recently. So it's nice to see him getting a firm hold on that ball because that whole Green Bay, he caught it, he didn't catch it.
Exactly.
A solid grab would have.
Well, he did catch it.
We know he caught it. We know he caught it.
It was after the play.
We're not here to debate that.
It was just
the point
rule.
is that.
Yeah, but I want to say Cowboys abroad, 2,000-yard rushers. Yes, I know. We are. I was talking about it earlier. We are definitely going to be more than okay with just sticking to the run. And again, if we have to lean on the passing game, a couple plays more a game, so be it. It might be that, but I don't think we don't change our game plan, and that's almost verified by the Cowboys. That's not changing now. And I will say, just like we do with Zeke, running him out the backfield for passes to catch passes, we're going to do that with McFadden. He's actually very good at that. They might be actually watching Rodney Hillman more in that kind of situation, but I guarantee you're going to see McFadden be able to do those plays, and Morris is getting better. So, I mean, Rod Smith's not the best player for that, but he's more of a power kind of back. So, again, I think we're fine. I think we're fine.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of depth there.
And again, it's going to go from 6 games, I believe, to 4, and Zeke's going to come back. He won't be as mature, like I said, as Brady. He's not going to be he's not a veteran like Brady and has that kind of killer instinct. So it might not take us to the Super Bowl, but you're going to see a difference in that team this year. I think it's going to be a bonding experience. We have the kind of players that the last couple of years, the veterans and people like Witten and Dez and Sean Lee and now Byron Jones, I believe, and of course Dak and even Zeke, even with the situation, I think everyone's going to get around them, and I think they're going to really come together, and they're going to upset some teams in the sense that everyone's going to go like 0-4, 1-3 for the first 4 games, or 2-4. It's not going to happen. I say without Zeke, 3-3 is the worst. If we go 6 games without him, that's my opinion. The worst, 3-3. 4-2, I think, is more realistic. I think we have a chance to do that with our style of play. Now, I know our defense is a problem. We'll have to, that's something that have to sort itself out. But if we have to go with a clock control, slow-paced game and score touchdowns, we control the game.
You said it earlier. Nothing really changes as far as the way that the Cowboys staff and the Cowboys offensive line is going to handle this game. Again, and I think the fact that we have so many offensive players that have not only improved, but we have, some better players at some other positions this time. And again, our biggest weaknesses are, other than Zeke on that offensive line. And I think that by the time that the season starts, we're going to have those positions solid. It's not going to be an issue anymore. And, I'm sorry, but for anybody to think that this somehow destroys any chances for the Cowboys is almost an insult to our offensive line.
Well, again, and Holloway, that's, I understand what you're saying. I know that the Cowboys offense runs through Zeke. Technically, it runs through the running game. And Zeke happens to be that running back. And I'm just saying that Zeke happens to be he's an all-encompassing running back. So he does what McFadden can do. He does what Alfred Morris can do. He does what what's his name? What Smith can do, Rod Smith. And he does what Hillman can do. So technically, that's why he's so much better. It runs through him because he is those 4 players. Now I have to run through these 4 players, which will make it a little bit easier on defense, I will say. For the most part. Let's say you have Hillman back there. He's probably going to – he can still run the ball, but it might be a passing down. So more or less what's going to happen a little bit better. With Zeke, you can't really figure that. So, and that's where his difference maker comes. But I think it just hurts us. It does hurt us a slight bit. Not as much as I think the Eagles and Giants and Redskins and all our opponents this year are going to think the first 6 at least, I think they don't know that. And again, I saw what Mr. Wright said, that he is going to appeal. We know that. He's going to appeal. Yeah. And he's going to, again, nothing is guaranteed. Worst case, it's still 6 games. I think we go 3-3 at worst. At worst. So, and I think, I just wanted to say one last thing. But yeah, I mean, he'll definitely miss some games though, Mr. Wright. I disagree with you there. I think he'll miss at least 2, up to 4. Let's put it that way. I agree.
Yeah, well, now that we know that he was suspended for 6 games, I think that even after the appeal, I think 2 games is probably the best that we can hope for.
Yeah, I mean, I think also the injunction also could change things. If that passes, then that moves it down to next year, and we don't have to worry about it this year. But it still hangs over Zeke's head and the team, and it's going to hang there for a while.
So no matter what, losing 2 games or this season or the next,
or 4 games,
or 4, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah, no matter what, it's bad. But it could be worse. And again, we have enough guys to kind of put our finger in the dam, so to speak, like in the hole in the dam, and just kind of hold that water from coming through. And I think we have enough because of our offensive line. Now, another comment. Yes, I do agree with Cowboys abroad.
Yeah, Cowboys abroad. Who gets the short end since we have to keep Morris now?
Well, again, you said that it saves his job, and it's true. I think someone not a running back gets the short end. I mean, I do think that someone like the fifth receiver, 6th receiver. Now you don't get that 5th receiver, or the 9th or 10th defensive end or lineman. Like the line guy, the defensive lineman. Instead of having 8 and 9, which was like a normal number, we had to have kind of 10 because of the suspensions. But now we got to maybe go shorter there. So maybe someone like Cedric Thornton could get cut. You never know.
I agree. And honestly, this changes my views on whether the Cowboys keep a 3rd quarterback or not. I do think that they are not going to keep a 3rd quarterback anymore, just because between the rest of the injuries and other things, But again, I did believe that earlier in the season. I thought it was a smart move by them. Yeah, honestly, now I think it would hurt them a lot more. Yeah. So, and by the way, let me see. How about the Cowboys? It's okay. You can call me his wife. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm just joking. Let's see.
No, I was going to say also though that I mean with Zeke's all these things that's going on and again with the defense, I think that when you kind of look at a position that could be in danger, it could be like a Kevon Frazier.
Which we have both said that he has not looked that great.
Liam McFadden for sure could be in jeopardy.
Time at this training camp either.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some guys that are kind of bigger names that we know that are on the bubble. I mean, I hope not Xavier Woods.
Cedric Thornton has, we thought was a starter, has kind of moved more on the bubble. I don't think that he's going to get cut, but if he continues to decline in his performance, he could possibly.
Eventually, he probably will because of the money they're paying him. But the thing is that we have Stephen Paya. And we have Malik Collins. Those guys are going to be solid up front. And it's a rotational lineup. So remember, you're going to see Irving come in when he gets off the suspension. You're going to see, what's his name? Cedric Thornton come in. And then the same thing with the ends. Taco and Tapper will probably be coming in for Benson Mayo and the Marcus Lawrence. And again, Lawrence will probably be gone next year because of a salary cap situation. So again, we look at it's a rotational thing this year. And I just named you 7 out of 8 guys that are going to be rotating in on that out of those 4 spots. So I think we have enough. And again, I didn't even say DeMontre Moore yet, and he's going to come back after 2 games. Watch for him if he can stay healthy. I know the Giant fans always talk crap about him because he was on their team and he wasn't always on the field and didn't do great all the time, but he looked good with us. So again, we're willing to roll the dice with him, obviously.
That's it. And Mr. Wright, I do agree. I do think that Zeke will take it. Zeke and Jerry Jones, they are going to pursue that legal action. So, but either way, like I said, whether he's suspended this season or next, we don't want to see him suspended at all for something that or at least specifically when it comes to domestic violence, if they still feel that he, should face a suspension for the St. Patrick's Day, behavior.
We understand that.
We understand. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And Zeke honestly needs to stay home. Seriously, listen. If you're listening, stay home.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, I mean, maybe Jerry Jones should hire a bodyguard, like a 24/7. I think he did.
No, not a bodyguard, a babysitter. Yeah, guys. Basically. We need babysitters on all our top.
The damage has been done. So I mean, now he has it. It's all on Zeke now. But let me just make a couple comments about the other teams in our division.
That's right.
Yesterday, the Redskins played. I know we have not many Redskin fans in here, but they played, and I think they got destroyed by Baltimore. Which I think they lost another guy yesterday, another starter for the year. I mean, to talk about the injury bug really hitting hard. Baltimore's getting the short end of that stick this year. But they did beat the Redskins in against preseason. Who cares? The Redskins didn't look that great tonight. I'm sorry. Last night the Eagles played as well. I think it was the Eagles that played last night, and they played Packers. And again, I know that it's backups and stuff, but Wentz did actually look decent. I will say that. So, again, it's against backups. So don't get your hopes high, Holly and Eagle. But, I understand the optimism. Let's put it that way. And as far as tonight's game, the Giants and Pittsburgh, I kind of wish the Cowboys would have picked up T.J. Watt. Because for the Steelers, he looks good. He looked great out there. And again, I know it's preseason. He's playing against backups. But he was a monster. He had 2 sacks and 2 plays. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, great pickup there. I wish there was a way the Cowboys could either trade up for him or got him or whatever. Wherever he went in the draft, it's just too bad. But either way, I think that that the Giants, what I've been seeing is that they did not, and I think someone made a comment on that too. They didn't look good on the offensive line again. And again, I know it's the first preseason game.
But the fact that they already are kind of known for having this struggle, the fact that we expect them to struggle with this, and the fact that we're seeing the struggle already in preseason is a little bit alarming for you Giants fans. Obviously, good news for us.
And every team in the NFC East. Yeah. So, I mean, and again, so that's just a quick rundown, guys. I'm not going to spend too much time on your teams. Yeah, I will say there was a big blockbuster trade.
Yes.
Which involved
3-way.
Yes. It was between the Eagles, Bills, and who was the other team? Browns or something? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know who it was. Bills, maybe. I think that the Bills gave up their cornerback, went to the Philadelphia Eagles, which he's pretty decent. But I wouldn't say he's better than our entire secondary. I think I saw Holloway say that. So on that, I think his name is Darby. Then we have who went? Oh yeah, the Bills' best receiver, basically.
No. I'm trying to, but.
So I mean, they had a chance to get what? Yeah, well, then it's stupid for the Cowboys if that's the Cowboys you're talking about.
So, and especially considering that we're talking about someone like T.J. Watt over Taco Charlton, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
a project or someone who seems like could be coming on now as a real pressure.
Exactly, like kind of a ready to go possible starter, the same way that Anthony Brown, right, from last year.
From what?
Right? Anthony Brown, his first year was last year, right?
Yes, Anthony Brown.
Yeah, so similar to Anthony Brown, who kind of, was kind of a ready-made starter, not because he was ready to go right away, but because he kind of had to step up, and then he was ready to go. So, and he had obviously a fantastic season, all things.
Oh, I understand, Mr. Wright. I'm mad too. Trust me. And again, I'm saying this here. How about them Cowboys? You're right. It was the Rams was the other team. And again, you'll have to tell me who it was. But I know the Bills traded away their receiver. What's his name? Sammy Watkins. I think to the Rams. So I mean, in a draft pick, and I don't know, something like that. But again, it definitely seemed that whatever the Eagles gave up wasn't that much. So. I will say that I think I saw Wentz get shrug Clay Matthews right off his back. It was a great play by Wentz, but again, that's starter versus starter, so you got to give it to him. I think Matthews on his way down. Anyways, Sammy Watkins tomorrow, so it doesn't matter. He'll probably even play tomorrow for I don't know, who knows. He won't know enough of the playbook to play against us tomorrow. Either way, it doesn't matter. It'd be great to have him out there, a big receiver we can practice on, with our backups, whoever's going to be out there tomorrow. I was trying to think of the trade, but anyway, that was a trade. And again, I think the Eagles didn't lose out on that trade, so that's unfortunate for us. That's all I'm concentrating on as far as the teams in that trade are concerned. Don't really care about the Bills. I like the joke that Patrick made, that 0-16 Bills-Jets. They can't because they play each other twice, but 1-15.
How about them Cowboys? Let me see. So, and again, I understand what you're trying to say when it comes to T.J. Watt and Taco, but again, we're talking about
that's true.
Right here, right now, and we're Taco. We know is kind of a developing talent. Like he needs to just continue to grow those skills, and we do believe he'll get there one day. The thing is that with guys like that, you're always taking a chance because some guys do get there, and some guys just
there's a lot, but I mean, and we don't know what Taco's going to be, but what Meet the Mets is saying is very, very correct, and it slipped my mind that T.J. Watt plays in the 3-4 defense. Our base is a 4-3. Doesn't fit.
Yeah. So and honestly, I think that's one reason why
it wouldn't fit our system.
Yeah. So Stephen Paella now, I know we keep going back to him.
Stephen Paella is definitely somebody who fits our system.
Yes.
And again, when we go to our Deacon, which is our 3-4 defense, which we do have when we play that lesser of the time, we have David Irving in the middle when he's off suspension. I don't know who they're going to put in the meantime, but they got the big guy in the middle. So you have in the middle, you have 2 pass rushers, and I'm not really sure who those guys are going to be, the defensive ends / tackles. And then we have our Deacon, which is Hitchens. He'll be playing the kind of like the defensive end, but he'll be moving around and kind of going after the quarterback. He'll be like our quarterback rusher in the 3-4 defense, which is called Deacon. So, but yeah, we wouldn't be able to use Watt that often. because of his position. And again, we needed somebody who's from the outside, who's more of that kind of pass rusher in our 4-3 defense, and that's. So,
yeah, a lot of people tend to see just pure talent and think, oh, you want to draft the best guy. And yes, you definitely want to draft the best guy, but you want to draft the best guy that fits your scheme.
Right, exactly.
You know,
it's got to fit.
It has to make sense, because if not, then you're drafting a great player that you can't use.
And that's what killed DeMarcus Ware, guys. If you guys remember DeMarcus Ware, number 94, you know, that's what happened. I mean, they switched the system in the middle of his career, and then he wasn't getting sacks. He had to went to Denver and back to that system, and they got a Super Bowl, and he was still doing fantastic. So
it just goes to show you that, you know, it's not just the player and the talent; it's the way that you use that player. You know, and I read this story recently. You know, Jason Witten didn't even play tight end until halfway through his college career or something like that. Because of an injury, they decided to try him at tight end. Next thing you know, now he's the GOAT. Okay, and that would have never happened had he not, you know, done that one thing a little differently. Had he stayed in whatever position, I can't think off the top of my head what it was. You know, had he stayed in that other position, he might not be where he is today. It just, those little things do make a difference. So, let's see.
And say what you like. How you doing? If you haven't subscribed, please do like.
Yeah,
everybody like.
Yeah, we
want
to say hi to everybody who's still watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We do post daily content on the Cowboys. We will be streaming every preseason game, including tomorrow's 9 o'clock game against the Rams.
9 o'clock Eastern.
Excited. Yes, 9 o'clock Eastern. Very excited to hopefully be seeing Jalen Smith play for the first time in 2 years. And
she'll be reading your questions tomorrow, and I'll be watching the game, giving my commentary, my reaction, because I just got to focus on the game. That's my duty here. So, that's what I do on game day.
So definitely make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't, and make sure to click that little bell down below.
Get our live streams.
Down below, over here.
So we have wherever it is on the screen.
So just to make sure that you don't miss any of our updates while we do go live or when we do post a video, guys. So we promise not to bug you too much.
Yeah, and I'll say what you like. I like that. That's from Digital on the Ground. Anyways, all I know is the beginning of the upcoming season rides on Dak Prescott. And, I mean, I still believe it goes through our running game. But Dak Prescott now has to become – now it all falls on his shoulders in that sense. If that's what you're saying, I believe yes. He's now got to become the full leader. He can't just bank on giving it to Zeke. He's got to really work every single fake, every play action, every halfback option, run option that they do. I mean, all that stuff, he has to be perfect. And he's got to really work with that passing game. And I think Dak is very smart.
So, and honestly, he looks better than ever this training camp.
He has looked fantastic.
He's gained some more muscle, lost a little bit of weight, and mentally focus-wise, he looks extra sharp. He's learned our playbook much better, which he's said in several interviews that he's done so far.
And he's learned other teams how they're playing a little better too.
So honestly, Dak has the combination that we are definitely looking for in a quarterback, and we've mentioned it before, kind of a Russell Wilson type, but he has the football brains, the physicality to make a lot of moves, but also the quick decision making and the leadership that we need to really guide this team.
I just thought of something here, and I guess I know we've been talking about Dak more in the running game this year. This is before Zeke. I think now with Zeke, we actually need to utilize Dak a little more in the running game. You're gonna see that threat being utilized a lot more. Now, not necessarily he's gonna run, but you can see the halfback option, that old Colin Kaepernick kind of play.
All it takes is one. He runs once, everyone's going to be watching for it the whole rest of the time.
Right, and then that'll help our running game as well with our offensive line. Against any defense. I think again, he knows how to slide. He's not stupid. He's not going to try to get extra yards if he doesn't need to. He's going out of bounds. And again, I trust him in that. He's very smart and very conscious about what's around him. So that's very helpful for a guy to have leading your team at quarterback.
So and again, it comes down to what we said earlier: offensive weapons. The fact that our quarterback is such an offensive weapon, not just in his passing game, but also in his running game,
it's going to open up.
Again, it opens up a whole possibility.
Now we actually needed to help the offense, and we might not. We'll see. But I think I think Dak is now the single leader on the team on offense. I think he was last year too, but I think, especially being a rookie and being put in that situation, I think he needed that core of guys around him. I think now I see him out there. He looks like a leader. He's a natural leader. And I think that is enough to help the team be confident about the running game, about the things that maybe they're lacking at the guard or at the right tackle position. So these are things that I think the Cowboys, nobody's going to expect that. And I think that's now it's the us against the world mentality. Now I think that Goodell and the NFL and every 31 team all 31 teams out there, pretty much all talk garbage about the Cowboys and about Zeke, and they're happy that he's gone. And, if it was their player, it'd be different. And what I'm thinking is that, I think that this us against the world mentality and the bond that the Cowboys are having this training camp, and from last season as well, even with Zeke suspended, he's still going to be there up until September 2nd. And I think he's going to be there for practices. They're bonding, and I think that's going to be enough to really propel them to do some things that maybe people won't expect. Maybe they'll play better defense than we think. Maybe Dak will really control the clock in every game methodically against most teams. And I'm not saying that he's not going to have bad games, but I'm saying if you can imagine that, I still think we can still survive this Zeke hit. So I wouldn't freak out too much. But what makes me mad is that it had to happen. It happened off of both BS. He should not have been suspended in
the first place. But
correct. But that it's happened. We got to deal with it. And again, I'm upset that he had to deal with this. That the team has to go through this. That us fans have to go through this. But it's just a couple of pegs lower, and it could cost us a game. But I don't think it's going to cost us more than that. And I truly believe that it might cost us one out of the first 6 games that maybe we would have won with Zeke. Maybe. If it's a close game.
The one thing I will say is, no matter what, it will always call into question that little bit of, if Zeke were there, we would have won. Or if Zeke were there, we would have won by more. Or if Zeke were there, it just, that whole if Zeke were there. At the end of the day, Zeke won't be there. So, it happens, whether he was injured or suspended or whatever it is. You can't expect your entire team to fall apart just because you're missing one player, even though he is undoubtedly an amazing, mind-blowing. You cannot
compare him to another running back in the league, in my opinion. He's different than any running back.
All of that, like we said, our offense is so stacked. Our offense is supposed to be, and we truly believe it is, so great that if they can't step up, if they can't make it work, then I think that calls to a bigger problem somewhere behind the scenes, whether it's like the team cohesiveness or from the coaching staff or from some of the players themselves. Something else somewhere else is not going right.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that for sure. And
so
I've always been a skeptic about the Cowboys.
So yeah,
coaching staff.
Mr. Wright, 6 games is so extreme. We both had kind of predicted that if he was suspended, it might be 2 games.
Right.
Possibly work down to 1. But when they said 6 games, my jaw dropped to the floor. And they're trying to base it off of the domestic violence guidelines, which again...
Well, they're going off the personal conduct guidelines, which includes in their very open and general language that the NFL feels like that you did something wrong, even if you're proven innocent in court, or even if you don't have charges brought against you. They are still enabled, if they believe that you committed domestic violence, even though there's no proof that you did, they can still technically suspend you for 6 benchmark games.
I believe, truly in my heart, I just feel this way, that the suspension is bullshit. And so, the NFL should listen.
Family friendly.
Sorry, guys, but this gets me really upset. But I just feel that because of my feelings, because I just feel this way. I don't have any proof.
And a Giant fan, because she was a Giant fan, too.
I don't have anything, but you guys should do what I say just because I feel this way. It just, when did we let feelings, rule our decisions when it comes to facts? Thank you. I'm sorry. I haven't been able to get this out. He got some of this out earlier today. I had to stew in my pissed offness, and it's just not fair.
It's not fair, but again, when you start to calm down, you realize that we actually are not that horribly bad off. It changes things very little. We have to use 3 or 4 guys instead of one guy the majority of the time. So think about this. He's going to come back with fire under his butt. He's going to be ready to really show the league that he's not taking any ish. And he's going to be out there really, on a mission, and he's going to be fresher too. He's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games fresher. Now, I'm not saying that's good, but I'm saying that the defense is trying to, get better out there after 6 games, 7 games, because it's going to be 7 weeks for us because we have to bye. So after that time frame, you think about that. Zeke's going to be ready to roll. I mean, if we get to the playoffs, which, we've got to always say if now. I believe we will still make the playoffs. But if we make the playoffs, I think that, Zeke it could make the difference between getting knocked out in the first or second round or winning the Super Bowl with Zeke at midseason form in the Super Bowl.
I've gotten to the point where the only satisfaction that I will feel is having that Tom Brady, Roger Goodell moment that we had this past Super Bowl, where Goodell had to hand him the trophy, and he did it.
Or he handed it to the owner, but
just his face, everything about him screamed, I hate every second of this, but I have to pretend I'm happy and do it. And I want to see that moment. I want to see him hand that trophy to Jerry Jones. I want to see the whole Cowboys team,
Touching
and especially Zeke, grabbing it and kissing it and loving that trophy because
it's a new war now.
Goodell. Exactly.
It's a new war now between Zeke and the Cowboys, and it's kind of like the Patriots.
And if the Patriots can do it, we sure as heck can do it, because I honestly think that we have a much younger team and it just more possibility.
Well, again, I agree with you for the future when it comes to that, because our defense is so young.
We are building a legacy
but
here,
I do think that if we don't do it this year, I do think it's coming soon. And I do think it's not just because Zeke is out. I think it is because of the defense. And I said that. But again, I do think we have enough to do an Eli streak through the playoffs if we could get in. When, you get lucky and blow through it. Now, if you have Zeke at midseason form with no injuries going into the playoffs with a mission, just be aware, guys. He's like a ticking time bomb now on the football field. He cannot wait to get out there. So it should be interesting. And the first game back, if it's the full 6 games, the Washington Redskins, our classic rival. But the Giants get off with 1 game. And the rest of the games are, Denver, the Cardinals, the Rams, 49ers. Luckily, not many division teams. So keep that in mind too, guys.
And Hollywood, I know you're saying that while your best player, arguably the best running back in the league, changes very little. Again, when we say changes very little, we're just saying that our offense can handle his loss because they have the skills to pay the bills. Again, we have that talent there on our offense
on the offensive
to
line,
make up for that.
Especially.
And not just that, but our running back, the depth in our running back position is insane. We have McFadden, we have Morris, we have possibly Rod Smith or Ronnie Hillman. We have a lot of great players, 2 players who rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Correct. 2 of them ran for over 1,000, and Hillman is a veteran.
We're not denying losing Zeke hurts us. We're absolutely not denying that. It hurts us. Of course it does. We're just saying that it doesn't hurt us the same way that it might hurt another team.
And I don't think it hurts as much as you guys, the Eagles, the Giants, the Redskins. Not even hoping. What you even? I honestly think. I think some Cowboys.
I really think hoping for. You guys are happy. You guys are celebrating.
True.
We know.
But we also think that even some Cowboy fans, I think that after you kind of take it in, you say, okay, you know what? You can look as optimists. But the point is that if you really look at the way our team is constructed through our offensive line, and now Dak is a bona fide leader. And again, if you don't believe it, just keep watching. But you will see that, you have those guys. I'm not going to talk about the receivers or tight ends. I'm just talking about the offensive line and Dak. And when you have any running back there, it's going to not be 17 or 1,800 yards like Zeke and 20 touchdowns. It's going to be 1,200 yards or 1,100 yards by one guy, like say McFadden, 600 yards by Morris. So, you get 300 yards from Hillman. I'm just saying, you get more receiving yards from him. You got Rod Smith coming in for another 300 yards. I'm just saying it's a committee thing, and again, if that was for the whole season. I'm just trying to say for the whole season, not just for those 6 games. But I think again, I think we do that in a compacted situation, a quarter of the season, and we can survive 4 games. We can survive with those guys. So it's not as big as a hit as you guys think it is, or some of you guys think.
So no, and again, it is. Somebody made a comment there that they declared war with Jerry Jones, the NFL.
That's true.
Again,
and Jerry Jones already said he's going to sue them. The NFL, Zeke is going to.
Honestly, I believe somebody. I'm not 100% sure who, but I did see this on Twitter, just saying that this is going to turn into a bloodbath, just because there's going to be a lot of mudslinging over a lot of little petty things. But honestly, I think that it's finally time for the NFL and especially Roger Goodell to kind of get another one-up, because I'm sorry, but the way that they make decisions, the way they've been making decisions, their decision-making process, whatever it is confusing not just to us as fans, but to the league itself. How are you supposed to have rules
there's no way
there's no clear way on how you implement them?
There's no way.
If players mess up, they deserve to be punished, and they deserve whatever punishments come their way. But when we have these blurred lines, so to speak, and there's no clear guidelines, and it feels like they're just making a decision based on feelings and not facts, it's frustrating, and it's hard not to feel like there isn't something against you.
No.
Now, let me as a team in general, not me personally.
No, I know. And again, okay, so I'm looking at Manuel Corona. Hello, thank you, subscribe, like. What's up? And guys, like the video if you can. It takes no time on your guys' side. Just click like if you like this video, you're having fun chatting
here. Yeah, it does really help us out, guys. We do appreciate it.
And so got to do that, guys. And I saw Manuel Corona, and he was saying that two like you said, 1,000-yard rushers will be fine.
So, again, not too many other teams can say, "Oh, we just lost our star running back. Let's put this other great, amazing running back right behind him." I can't say enough great things about our offense, guys.
Right, and our offensive line especially.
But it's true.
But I have confidence in Dak and in our passing game. And then we're not a one-dimensional team by far. We're not. We just lost the best running back in the league, and we need 4 guys to replace him. That's the sucky part about it. But we lost him for at most 6 games, maybe 4, I believe. You said more like 2. I think it's 3 or 4 because they want to still send a message.
I'm still going to be optimistic and think that just because of the, faulty and flimsy evidence that the NFL has built their case on, I'd like to say no games, but I think that possibly 2 games.
Yeah.
3 or 4 sounds more realistic,
I would accept
but I am going to be optimistic in this case.
2 I would be like, good. Maybe wake them up a little bit to be more mature in the future. I want to say about Holloway.
That's right. See you tomorrow, Holloway. Thanks for popping into the stream. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, but I wanted to say, I understand what you're saying about Super. She was laughing at us with the Super Bowl. We said Super Bowl. It's just a possibility. I'm not saying we definitely are going to get to the Super Bowl. I felt much more confident, yesterday.
Trust me, guys. This is us just being optimistic. But at the end of the day,
we don't know how the team's going to react, so we have to wait and see. But I do think that there's some kind of inner confidence with Dak leading this team. And then he led them last year, too. He didn't get the rookie MVP for nothing, guys. And he had to beat out Zeke for that.
And we definitely, honestly, we have the talent to get to the Super Bowl, I believe. Yeah. I think we have, I think the coaching staff is starting to make some of the right moves, for sure.
Well, I'm on board with that.
I said some of the right moves. Now, I'll never agree 100%.
I guess if you look at the Hillman thing, when they brought him in, not sure about Zeke, and they kind of knew more probably what was going on behind the scenes. So bringing Hillman in actually was kind of maybe not just a camp body. Signing this veteran guy was more of a, just in case
looking to the future kind of move.
Security thing in case something happens to Zeke, which it did now. And it's a good move.
And I'm still very surprised just because of the statements that Jerry Jones made. I mean, most of the Cowboys camp was extremely confident that Zeke was going to face very little, if any, kind of, suspension or punishment.
At least that's what they were saying to the public. We don't really know. So, but I will say, let me address, how about them Cowboys, saying that about our family. How do the rest of our family feel about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, both of our kids are pretty upset, obviously. My family already called to make fun of me for it because they are not Cowboys fans. And I even got crap from my Patriots-loving boss. He said, oh, yeah, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, as far as my side, I mean, my little, both our kids, they have been, kind of very down about it, surprisingly. As long as they are.
And it's hard for us to explain, at least for me, to my son, who is a little bit younger.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to explain that because a woman lied and said these things that now he's facing this. He doesn't understand why, if he's telling the truth, why is he still getting in trouble? And it's hard for me to explain, well, they just see it differently.
And again, we do explain to them that that obviously is a bad thing. It does happen a lot. So we don't kind of diminish it at all.
We're not trying to diminish the reality that some of these players do
the women or men that lie about domestic violence are the ones that make real domestic violence. It's the most shameful to them. Like, that's the most damage they're doing to the real victims.
If you're lying about a crime that didn't happen, whether it's somebody hit you or somebody assaulted you or somebody stole something, whatever it is, if you're lying about a crime, it just makes every single person who was a real victim of that crime look so much worse, and especially when it comes to cases like this.
You're lessening them.
Exactly. When it comes to not just the reputation of a victim, but you're talking about the reputation of a player whose career is on the line. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott's whole career could possibly just be threatened by these allegations.
Right. If he's not guilty, then it should not be. It's not fair. But again, if he's guilty, we do believe that he should get whatever the league spends him.
To the fullest extent of punishment, because no one has ever, I hope, not in agreement with anybody hitting anybody.
And again, I saw Mr. Wright earlier say, I train women in like MMA kind of fighting, and he hits women, they're not glass. And I understand what you're saying. I believe in equal rights. All right, no women should hit men, and no men should hit women. It goes both ways. We're both big time supporters of equal rights for both women and men. So that goes both ways. And again, no woman should hit a man, and no man should hit a woman.
Violence either way is not okay. And we never want to advocate for that, but at the same time,
self-defense can be tricky. But again, we're not getting into those kind of topics. It's more of the fact that we don't want to diminish we don't want, if Zeke really did something, then he should pay the price for that.
But there's no people who are not victims, when people have proof that somebody lied about being a victim.
That makes Zeke the victim in this case. Zeke is actually the victim if you really think about it. And again, it shouldn't be even that hard to understand. And most college fans probably already automatically will assume that. But I really want everybody to think about it. Either ones that agree or disagree with Zeke. the ruling, or you like the ruling, you don't like the ruling. The point is that
if this was a Giants player, this was happening too. As much as we'd be happy about him being suspended because we wouldn't have to face him, we still wouldn't be happy with the circumstances behind the suspension if he really didn't do it. You know, this isn't a Ray Rice case where we have proof or we saw him, you know, really go at it. We have proof of the exact opposite about this woman lying. So, you know, it's just baffling. This whole entire case is baffling. The fact that it took them 13 months to even say anything on it is another level of confusion and craziness. And just, I'm sorry, but, you know, even if all this stuff turns out to be true and Zeke really did these things or whatever, the NFL has to do a better job of clarifying to the fans, to the team, to the staff, to everybody, that these decisions were made with actual real facts. It just... I don't know. I wonder, let us know your thoughts, guys. Do you feel like the NFL should be more transparent when it comes to these types of decisions?
And again,
not just
and we're not talking about the Cowboy fans that agree. We're talking about more about the non-Cowboy fans or even the trolls or the haters, if you want to call yourself that.
Seriously, let us know. How should the NFL handle cases like this? What is the right steps to take?
Actually, simple yes or no. Do you guys believe that if Odell Beckham, if you're a Giants fan, or Carson Wentz, if you're an Eagle fan, or whatever fan you're out there, take your best player and put them as in this spot. Do you believe that with the evidence they had against your player, that he deserves a 6-game suspension? And if you can answer that with a yes, he deserved it, you're a better man than me, or a better woman than me, than her, but a better person than me. Because then, you know, I would have to see that really to believe it, to be honest with you guys. But again, maybe you're one of the few.
So how about them Cowboys? You actually make a very excellent point. The NFL has handled domestic violence differently since Ray Rice video came out. That's because the NFL has never looked like bigger fools than when that video came out.
Especially Goodell.
Yeah, because they knew
he hit it.
They knew about the video's existence. They saw the video.
Suspended him for 2 games.
It just and when we
and then when it was leaked, and they saw the video and they didn't say anything. As you guys know the story, Ray Rice, it was an accusation or whatever, but you know, and then he got suspended 2 games. But what was happening behind the scenes is Roger Goodell already knew about the tape and still only suspended him 2 games. So guess who had to take the heat when it leaked? And they found out that, no, Goodell was already knew about it. He took the heat.
Exactly.
So it's been a witch hunt. And with Greg Hardy...
we saw it with several other players.
It wasn't with Greg Hardy, but it has been with other players, and it has been with Zeke. He's the biggest example of that. And if anything's going to ever change, it's going to be because of this ruling, because of this situation. It might be the worst thing right now, but it might be better for the future.
To stand on. Whatever proof they say they have, they somehow found it after 2 separate police investigations, somehow didn't manage to
find the prosecution represent this woman. So I'm not even calling her a lady. I'm just going to call her female.
Exactly. So, guys, we are going to be wrapping up the stream shortly. Let us know your final thoughts on this whole Zeke craziness. There hasn't been any other news outside of Cowboys camp besides that. So we will be updating you on all those injuries. Obviously, since that's our biggest thing tomorrow, before the game starts, definitely make sure to watch out. We will be streaming shortly before the game starts. It is at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m.
Yeah,
not 9 a.m. Yeah,
we play the LA Rams. Well, so you know, we got golf playing tomorrow.
We mentioned this throughout the week for a few of you guys who maybe didn't catch our other previous live streams, that Jalen Smith was playing with the first team.
Looking great.
He looks better than he ever
middle
has.
Linebacker.
We previously said we might not see him until maybe the 3rd preseason game or maybe later on. And I retracted that statement and I said I would not be surprised at all if we saw him this game. Honestly, if we don't see him this game,
I'll be
I will be
surprised
disappointed.
now.
I'm so excited, guys. Keep your eye out for Jalen Smith.
Number 54. Keep out for Stephen Paya. Number 55. So that's he's on the defensive line in the middle. So keep an eye. He should be playing tomorrow. Of course, our entire offense should be out there for the ones that are healthy, except for Tyron Smith. I mean, I think the rest are going to be out there. Our starting team.
Bobby, thanks for listening. We appreciate you tuning in, even though you're working.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Bobby J. Bobby J. Johnson. I like it.
And Brandon Bryant, really interesting point. In my opinion, they're saying the NFL is above the law.
In a way, yeah.
It is concerning, but, again, plenty of jobs and other places have personal conduct policies that even though it might not legally fit a definition, if they feel that it fits their criteria, they can still either punish you or let you go or take some kind of action.
And unfortunately, because of the latest Players Association agreement with the NFL, which is also backed by Roger Goodell, of course, backed by all the owners, including Jerry Jones. So it's like the owners and Jerry Jones are now split now. It's like the owner and Roger Goodell, and now Jerry Jones over here, kind of with the players now. It's kind of like a us against the world kind of thing. So that could definitely spar a team that's
but you know what?
on the verge
Cowboys,
to greatness.
We've had a target on our back since the day that the star was slept on.
1960.
We're used to it by now. So, guys, we just have to really trust in our machine offense. You know, they're gonna be the ones who really keep it together. I believe in Dak. I believe in the rest of our guys, and Witten and Dez and Beasley and Switzer and T. Will and Butler and McFadden and yes, I said so. So you know, our offensive line, you know, Travis Frederick and all these other guys.
Tyron Smith.
You know, I'm putting my faith, I'm putting my belief in them because I know they can get the job done. They've gone out there. You know, 90% of our guys have proven it. It's just a time to hold it together and watch our team continue to progress until Zeke gets back out there and can really blow up the field.
And yes, Cowboys abroad. Final thought: Zeke suspension, total BS for sure.
We all want more Rico. We all want more Taco. I would love nothing more than to see Taco really get steady.
You're welcome for the chat. And Cowboy, how about them Cowboys? One last question. What is it? Yes, I know. The NFL does care about money. That's what it's about in the end. You were right. Money is what it's about. And again, even though Zeke helps them with ratings and with shirts being sold and jerseys being sold.
We mentioned this before. The fact that this first Hall of Fame NFL preseason game was viewed more than NFL than an NBA playoff games than Major League Baseball games. Not the final
preseason. No, the preseason Hall of Fame game, the Cowboys and Cardinals actually got better ratings than every single NBA playoff game except the NBA Finals, and every single MLB playoff game except the World Series, and the Cubs
making it
to the World Series. So that one game as well.
Yeah,
but other than those, 10 games total from both basketball and football. I mean, basketball and baseball from both those leagues, their championships. The only things that outdid the Cowboys' preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals in Hall of Fame game, a meaningless, worthless game that is just backups and third strings and fourth strings and fifth strings and on and on and on.
And how about them Cowboys? I answered your question earlier. I'll go ahead and say it again. I think that Zeke is going to be a steal in fantasy football. If someone does go out and take a chance on him and he does get his suspension reduced, obviously I think he's going to produce in a big way this year. But I think it is going to be kind of a risky move to pick him up.
Here's what I think. I think Zeke is definitely, it could still be a steal, obviously, for the reasons you said. But I think that if he still stays the 6 games, let's say, I think that you let him go. It depends how many teams are in your league, but I think he becomes a second or third round pick. In a 12 or 16 in a 12-team league, I'd say like a third round pick. If he goes any farther than that, definitely get him. But the guy, if you get Zeke, you have to get McFadden. That's the guy you want to get in fantasy. So you kind of want to handcuff him a little bit with both those guys. And think about taking that. I mean, McFadden you'll probably get after Zeke. So keep that in mind, unless you're playing in our league.
So, all right, guys. So, again, thank you so much for joining us, every single one of you guys. We appreciate you making it out here. Of course, let us know your thoughts on the whole Zeke situation. Obviously, leave us know.
Yeah, leave your comments at the bottom.
Yeah, we will definitely be tuning in tomorrow, like I said, to give you all the updates on injuries, hopefully a little bit of pregame stuff.
Today, it was nothing coming out of camp. Nothing. It was all close practice. The only thing that was coming out, Zeke news, Zeke suspension. That's the only thing that's out there. So everything else has been closed off, the practices. And, I did hear that the players were talked to by the coach and by the staff about this before it was announced. So they knew about it beforehand, but nobody could see their reactions. Of course, they were inside and nobody really. Anything you see that about the Cowboys and they say it's today, it wasn't. So. If it has to do with practice. So
but definitely
there are no late now ready for the game tomorrow. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Just definitely make sure to join us tomorrow. We will be streaming.
It's gonna be fun.
The game. You can see our reactions. If you want to go ahead and check out our reactions to the Hall of Fame game, make sure to check out our previous stream about a week ago. So about a week ago. Anyway,
thank you.
Yeah, but seriously, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
How about them Cowboys? Thank you. We're shouting out. Wolf Rider, thank you.
So seriously, guys, every single one of you guys, thank you so much for watching.
Brandon Bryant, I agree with you. The passion this year is going to be unmatched. Not even the Patriots, and that's already worn off. We got this. We just keep the hope alive. I think we have a shot. Let's not jump off the cliff.
You can't keep the Cowboys down. You can't keep us down.
Very tough games, I agree, and that's what's going to make it harder. But I think now teams might actually do us like last year, underestimate us a little bit. Say, oh, they don't got Zeke, we got them, and we got them. So let's see what happens, guys. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, tacos and Cheetos tomorrow, some Jalen Smith, Some Rod Smith,
some
Rico tacos.
So seriously, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be tuning in with you guys tomorrow. And oh wait, one last thing. Go Cowboys!
Woohoo!
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
We love you guys. Come back tomorrow for game day. Go Cowboys.